I used to think sleep was for the weak, that rest was something lazy people did, while winners like me kept grinding. I'd wake up at 5 a.m., cold showers, meditation, workout, work by 7, meetings until 8 p.m., side hustle until midnight, every single day. And I was proud of it, until the day I couldn't get out of bed, not because I was tired, because my body refused to move. That's when I learned something nobody talks about in hustle culture. The lie we're all buying into isn't just wrong, it's dangerous. And it cost me more than money. It almost cost me everything. Let me be honest with you. For 3 years, I believed the narrative. Sacrifice now, enjoy later. Sleep when you're dead. No days off. I wore my exhaustion like a badge of honor. I'd tell people I only needed 5 hours of sleep like it was a superpower. The truth? I was running on adrenaline and fear. Fear that if I stopped, someone else would take my spot. Fear that rest meant weakness. Fear that I wasn't good enough unless I was bleeding effort. But here's what nobody tells you about that kind of life. It has an expiration date, and mine was about to hit. It was a Tuesday morning in March. I woke up, or tried to. My body felt like concrete. My chest was tight. My mind was foggy. I thought, just one more coffee, push through. But when I tried to stand, my legs gave out. Not from injury, from exhaustion so deep my body had shut down systems to protect itself. I ended up in urgent care. The doctor asked me a question I'll never forget. When was the last time you took a full day off? I couldn't remember. Not a weekend, not a vacation, not even a sick day. He looked at me and said something that broke me. You're not ambitious. You're afraid. And your body is trying to save you from yourself. I spent the next 3 weeks doing nothing. Not by choice, by doctor's orders. And in that silence, I started to see the truth. I wasn't building a business. I was running from something. From the fear that I wasn't enough. From the belief that my worth came from my output. From the idea that rest meant failure. That realization led me to research something I'd been ignoring. The psychology behind why we destroy ourselves in the name of success. Here's what I learned. Burnout isn't a badge of honor. It's a defense mechanism. Your body and mind shut down when they detect a threat you're not willing to acknowledge. Yourself. The hustle culture lie isn't that hard work doesn't matter. It does. The lie is that constant work equals better results. Science says the opposite. Studies from Stanford show that productivity sharply declines after 50 hours a week. After 55 hours, it collapses entirely. You're not producing more, you're just suffering more. But here's the deeper truth I discovered. The people preaching hustle aren't successful because they don't rest. They're successful because they learned to manage energy, not just time. Warren Buffett schedules unstructured time to think. Bill Gates takes think weeks twice a year, alone, reading, no meetings. LeBron James spends $1.5 million a year on recovery, not training, recovery. They understand something we forgot. Rest isn't the absence of productivity. Rest is the foundation of it. When I finally understood this, something shifted. The guilt I felt about resting, gone. The fear that I'd fall behind disappeared. Because I realized the race I was running had no finish line. I was exhausting myself chasing a horizon that kept moving. So I did something radical. I redesigned my life around energy, not hours. And what happened next surprised me. I started with one rule, one full day per week. No work, no email, no just checking. That's it. The first week felt wrong. I kept reaching for my phone. My brain kept spinning. But by week 3, something changed. Ideas came easier. Problems I'd been stuck on for months solved themselves. My work improved, not because I was working more hours, because I was working from a full tank, not an empty one. Then, I added a second rule: 8 hours of sleep, non-negotiable. People laughed. How do you have time for that? The answer shocked me. I had more time than ever, because I wasn't spending 3 hours in a fog every morning. I wasn't making mistakes that took hours to fix. I wasn't redoing work I'd done poorly out of exhaustion. Within 6 months, my revenue doubled. Not because I worked twice as hard, because I worked half as exhausted. I learned to track energy, not hours. High-energy tasks in the morning, creative work after rest, meetings in the afternoon. I learned to say no, not to opportunities, but to obligations that drained me. And I learned the most important lesson: success without rest isn't success. It's fear disguised as ambition. But here's the part that changed everything. The real shift wasn't in my productivity, it was in how I felt about myself. For years I measured my worth by my output. How many hours, how many clients, how much money. And no matter how much I did, it was never enough. Because I was asking my work to give me something it couldn't, proof that I mattered. But when I started resting, something unexpected happened. I started to like myself again. Not because of what I accomplished, just because I existed. I realized the person I was trying to prove myself to was me. And the more I worked, the less I believed I was worthy of rest. It was a cycle I couldn't win. The truth is simple. You're not a machine. You're not meant to run at max capacity 24/7. You're a human being, and human beings need rest. Not as a reward, as a requirement. Success without rest isn't success. It's fear disguised as ambition. And the moment you stop running from that fear, everything changes. So let me ask you something. When was the last time you rested? Not because you were too tired to continue, but because you chose to honor yourself. If you can't remember, maybe it's time to stop running. Because the thing you're chasing, it's not ahead of you, it's inside you. And you'll never find it if you're too exhausted to look. What if rest was the real secret all along?